A good combined attack. He goes under, he goes over, he's fast. It's very impressive right now. It's a good first round for young Michael Ward.
Giving Floyd Weaver all he can handle at this point. Scheduled for 6. These are junior middleweights.
Oh, a little Sugar Ray Leonard move. Figuring Sugar Ray's in the audience, he might appreciate what that looks like. The Sugar Ray taunting maneuver.
Well, he has Pepe Gray in his corner.
He's gonna hear in the corner that he's got to cut out that stuff and get down to work.
Okay.
And round number 1 is in the books as Floyd Weaver, who was rocked, heads back to his corner. James Buster Douglas against Evander Holyfield. The moment of truth as Douglas puts his undisputed heavyweight championship on the line. And the #1 undisputed contender, Evander the real deal Holyfield, in his dressing room trying to get loose. Freddie, what goes through a fighter's mind at this point in the show?
Believe me, he is concentrating. He's thinking everything he's got to think to get in. In the case of Evander Holyfield, however, he is a religious man, and he is given to prayer, and I would not be surprised to have him thinking in those terms somewhere along in here.
You see, he only had 12 rounds over the last 466 days. That was in preparation for 2 fights. An 8-round fight against Alex Stewart, 4 rounds against James McDonough. So Evander Holyfield going through the mental preparation part. All the physical work has been done. And we return you to ringside. Michael Ward against Floyd Weaver in the scheduled 6-round junior middleweight bout. We start round number 2. Bob Papa along with Bertie Pacheco and Michael Ward in round number 1. The 19-year-old out of Fort Washington, Maryland, came out with a good round number 1.
Very impressive round for Ward. I'm sure that the corner has said to Weaver, you got to step it up now. Can't let this guy take command, because he was doing all right till he got cornered there on the ropes. And the speed of Michael Ward was just too much for Weaver to handle.
How about that showboating aspect early on?
Well, I think so many...
Oh, there goes Weaver. They have locked up legs there, but he was hit.
Well, Weaver's legs did a complete waffle, but apparently he wasn't hurt that badly. It was just a momentary stunning. Just remember that Ward can bang. He's got a good knockout punch.
Watch your step.
1 minute gone by in round number 2, scheduled for 6.
I think generations of fighters have been spoiled by Muhammad Ali's clowning and by Sugar Ray Leonard, 2 of the finest boxers to ever put on gloves. And if it's okay for them to do it, guys that come along follow them. Of course, guys like Camacho, Pazienza, the great Mexican champion from Mexicali, Jorge Paez, they all clown around. And of course, it gets some television exposure. People like to see this comedy along with drama. It's not a good idea. They should pay attention to business. It's almost a lack of respect for your opponent.
Michael Ward in the black trunks, nicknamed Magic, throwing a lot less punches here in round number 2 after having a good round number 1. Floyd Weaver in the white trying to get some rhythm going.
He's trying to take some kind of command here to be the aggressor, to do something to win these rounds. It was Weaver, while trying to seek some kind of an edge, he got in trouble at the early part of this round. So right now he's got a little mountain to climb to win even this round. He lost the first one on my scorecard unofficially. And so he's got to try to get back in the fight here. It's only opening up. It's only starting. So we got a ways to go.
Time remaining in round number 2. A much slower pace than round 1. Ward's corner asking him to double up when he lands a shot, not to get on the bicycle and back away. Weaver with a wild miss, and Ward being warned for a push.
That started to count. The difference here is speed. The difference in this equation is speed. Ward being able to punch and get away before the other guy can really get untracked, and that's corner doesn't want him to do, but that's exactly what the right thing to do is. Punch and not get hit. Get away.
Michael Ward heads back to his corner. Let's listen in. Here's Pepe Correa.
Pick it up some. I want jab, 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 jab. You understand that? And step over the right hand. Let's get some sucker.
There you get a look at the Mirage as you hear Pepe Correa giving out information to Michael Ward. Ask him to dig to the body more.
Well, he is so fast, and he has been able to dominate with a jab and superior speed. There's Bruce Willis from Die Hard 1, 2, 4, 6, 18.
He's got his
as long as money comes. Yeah, Giants. Yeah, he is a New Yorker.
Yeah, and all the New York Giants are back at Lawrence Taylor's place watching the fight tonight.
Well, they're having a heck of a season. They're having a wonderful season. What this young man now has to do is to maintain what he's done so far. I don't know how much you're going to change this guy. If he's going to go to the body, he's going to get hit by Weaver, who is trying to find him in counterpunch, but has not been able to. Beginning of round 3.
And we start this third round of the scheduled 6-round junior middleweight bout. Michael Ward in the black trunks, Floyd Weaver in the white. Weaver, the younger brother of former heavyweight WBA heavyweight champion Michael Weaver. His brothers Troy and Lloyd in his corner. And a very animated corner in the Ward corner in between rounds. They were pleased with round 1 and disappointed with round 2.
Well, there wasn't enough action, but there was enough action for him to win it. I mean, anything you win is pretty good. But they want him to win decisively. They want him to mix it up more. Weaver, for his part, has got to try to cut that distance. He is being outspeeded and outslicked by a much younger man. This guy's got 19-year-old reflexes. Look at that.
Right hand by Ward. Right now, Ward is just beating Weaver to the punch.
Speed, speed, speed. That's all you see. Padilla doesn't want him to hold on the top of the head, but that was incidental and not intentional.
Of course, the referee does not figure in the scoring. 3 judges.
Weaver just wants this guy to stop and fight. He just wants him to get in. Here's where he wants him. But look at where he's at. Ward gets in. When things get hot, he's gone. Very impressive looking young talent.
Ward suffered his only pro loss in his second pro fight. That's a Ron Morgan in Atlantic City, New Jersey, a 4-round loss.
Go! Bring it up, bring it up. Bring it up.
Referee Carlos Padilla separates the fighters here in round number 3. Scheduled for 6.
This is the kind of round that's hard to score. The aggressor and the guy that's trying to make the fight is Weaver. Ward is not fighting enough in retreat to build up points, and while he's out slicking him, still there's not much action and there's not much to pick from. And many judges go for the aggressor. Warning not to push off. Next time he'll get a deduction.
Ward decides to use his fist. Pushes back over a bit.
Now he's got him up against the ropes. He's got him cornered. And if he lets him out of this, then you see you got to award points for defense. He had him where he wanted him. He didn't come in and take advantage of Ward. And now, did Weaver? Ward got away, and then he came back to fight. So that's where the points come in.
Yeah, that is the end of round number 3 as Floyd Weaver heads back to his corner. Fans continue to file in here at the Mirage. And now let's take you back up top to our host for the evening, Jim Hill. Jim?
Okay, Bob, thank you so very much. You know, when this fight was announced, everyone immediately came out and they figured they were starting to talk about who they thought was going to win the fight tonight. Well, we went out a couple of days ago and talked to some of the so-called experts, the Boxing Writers of America, and got their prediction as to who will win and why tonight's heavyweight championship fight here at the Mirage in Las Vegas.
I like Evander Holyfield to stop Buster Douglas, I would say around the 11th round. My thoughts on Holyfield is that he's been very consistent throughout his career, which should come back benefit him here. All throughout his heavyweight career, he's had to come up with obstacles, and the biggest one being Michael Dukes that he overcame. Evander Holyfield is fighting someone in Buster Douglas who will be much better psychologically than he was against Mike Tyson. But as far as styles, I see this possibly as a repeat as Buster Douglas when he fought Tony Tucker. Holyfield should box. He'll be consistently pressing, and if he gets through the first 3 rounds, his work ethic will carry him.
And Dave Bontempo always long-winded as he gave us his prediction. We start round number 4 of the scheduled 6-round junior middleweight bout.
I don't think Bontempo heard the bell, do you?
No.
He could have wound that up a little bit. We didn't miss anything. We came out a few seconds that started just like they ended. With Ward in a fighting retreat and Weaver aggressively trying to get this thing into a punch-out.
Michael Ward in the black trunks, Floyd Weaver in the white. As they get tied up in the center of the ring, and a low shot there.
What a beautiful body shot. It might have been a little low. His back was to us, and we didn't see, but it was a beautiful.
Watch your low blow, okay?
Looks like it woke up Floyd Weaver a little bit.
Weaver's not. Oh, there's a little hitting on the brake there. I mean, the action was continuous. That was not really hitting on the brake.
What can Weaver do to try to slow down Ward and catch him?
He's got to cut him off. You just saw a perfect example of how he gets away. He's got him right to the point where he can step over and cut him off and then pound him into the ropes, and he lets him scurry away. He's got to learn how to do that. There are times when you see Ward approaching the ropes in a corner, and all that Weaver has to do is step over and start throwing punches, and he doesn't. He lets him slide
Ward has been able to duck out of the way of any serious punishment. He hurt Weaver in round number 1.
You know, what's amazing, he just got hurt by a terrific body shot, whether it was low or borderline, and then he comes back fighting like nothing hurts. You know, I mean, one of those shots carries over till the next day if you're not a boxer. You know, I mean, that hurts. And these guys come back and keep on fighting like nothing happened to them.
There have been no knockdowns in this fight to this point. Time remaining in round number 4. Michael Ward out of Fort Washington, Maryland, in the black trunks. Floyd Weaver from Dunbar, California, 26 years of age, in the white.
Weaver's still the aggressor, still the guy trying to make the fight, and this thing could get close if the judges are awarding him points for that, because while Ward started off magnificently, very fast and beautiful combinations, hurting Weaver, he has been content to fight a sort of retreat. This is what I'm talking about on the ropes. We just saw a perfect example. Referee breaks him out and spins Ward. He better start doing some fighting.
Instead, he's clowning a bit, and Weaver trying to swarm inside.
He needs more aggression. More aggression. It's almost in the stage of none. None is such a superior fighter that he doesn't get aggressive and finish anybody else. That's what's the matter with Michael Ward.
Round number 4 in the books here at the Mirage, and former Laker coach and now one of your colleagues at NBC Sports, Pat Riley, taking in the sights here at the Mirage, and Jim Hill is standing by with Chuck Norris. Jim?
Okay, Bob, thank you very much. And if there's one person that knows about being in physical condition, it is indeed Chuck Norris. We got a little guy who's in great shape against a big guy who is, some people think, out of shape. And you just brought up a very interesting point. You know, maybe Buster's taking a chance.
Well, I think the thing is that if I was Buster, I would be at the weight that I beat Mike Tyson at, because it seemed like that was his perfect weight. He's 12 pounds heavier for tonight. I don't know if that means that he's lost that hunger and that intense desire, because, you know, what happens when you become a celebrity, you can have a tendency to back off a little bit, so you got to be real careful about that. Holyfield looks in phenomenal shape, but like you say, he is lighter weight. It'll be interesting to see just how the two weights compare. Buster, that extra weight may work for Buster's advantage. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay, Chuck, thank you so much. Enjoy the evening.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, Bob, back to you at ringside.
All right, we start round number 5. Michael Ward in the black, Floyd Weaver in the white trunks, scheduled for 6 in the junior middleweight division. Freddie, how do you see it scored through the first 4?
I have a 39-37 for Ward. It is a very difficult fight to score because of Ward's defensive mastery, but lack of offensive desire. I mean, he's content to outbox him, but you don't see too much offense coming the other way. After the first 2 rounds, which were total mastery by Ward, he's been on a bicycle.
Especially round 1.
He's been fighting a Michael Nunn kind of fight, a guy that's so expert and so good and so fast that he doesn't feel like he has to take any chances. Poor Weaver stuck with this horrible frustration of coming in there to punch, to try to get him. Every time he gets by a corner, Weaver's got to be sliding over, and he's not doing it.
It's like a baseball team that gets an early first inning lead and then stops trying to advance the runner and things like that, and tries to sit on it a little. Sometimes you can get burned that way.
See, here's the place exactly what Weaver should have done. He landed 6 or 7 punches in the corner, and the other Ward didn't get anything but 1 shot going away.
Ward with excellent quickness as he tries to back away. He's been able to get off the ropes when he has to.
It's hard to imagine why Ward has abandoned any desire for offensive action. I mean, he certainly shouldn't be tired. He hasn't taken any punishment at all.
Weaver just trying to get inside.
This corner sees what I see. The only way to get this done is to get inside, unless the judges have to reward him for the patience of an offensive fighter that's not hitting him.
And referee Carlos Padilla has done a lot of tugging over the last couple of rounds as these 2 fighters continue to tie each other up. Try that sneaky right, didn't work, and yet another tie-up.
But at least Weaver's getting a little closer, and he is hitting him, and he is tying him up, so he's doing something, whereas Ward is not doing much of anything. Now, there was a nice combination, but hitting the gloves of Weaver, so no points.
That is the end of round number 5 of the scheduled 6-round junior middleweight bout. Michael Ward in his corner. Let's listen in with Pepe Correa.
You've got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes of smooth boxing. This kid needs a knockout to win. Do you understand that?
There you get a look at the sights of the Mirage Hotel in the arena. Set inside the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, James Buster Douglas, going through his final mental checklist as he gets ready for the moment of truth against Evander Holyfield. They tape up the wrists at this point.
And you do wonder what's going through his mind. I know what's going through Evander Holyfield's mind. Both of them are religious men, as we said, and I'm sure he said his prayers. But I wonder if he's thinking, did I overeat a little bit? Was that 15 pounds really too much? Or is this exactly where I want to be and everybody else is mistaken? They don't know what I've got. I mean, a lot of criticism heaped on this young man. A lot of criticism. And we'll soon see whether it's justified or whether he's right to overeat himself into a 15-pound disadvantage.
I'd like to unload that right hand as we return ringside with the 6th and final round of this junior middleweight bout. Michael Ward in the black trunks against Floyd Weaver in the white, and Weaver comes out bombing.
And this is the round that could determine this is a very even fight now because of Ward going to sleep through those middle rounds. Now, this is just the kind of fight Weaver should have been fighting all along. He should have been fighting that kind of fight all along. Padilla having a little bit of difficulty getting Ward to let go.
Time out now called by Carlos Padilla.
1 round,
you watch out.
1 point taken away. He just motioned to each judge. Now that could have cost him a fight.
Because this is a very close fight going into this last round.
Yep. That could have been the deciding factor. Now, that just means that Ward must win this round or else he's going to have a 2-point disadvantage.
I thought Weaver may need a 2-point round coming in to win this fight. Now with the point deduction, he can get it without a knockdown.
And he was on the way to getting it because he's doing all the fighting right now.
It doesn't appear that Ward is tired with his lack of offense. He just lost interest in taking the offensive.
Exactly. Loss of concentration. I don't know We didn't hear his corner exhorting him too much. Maybe they were satisfied with his performance. But it's a lack of concentration is deadly.
I tip your cap to Floyd Weaver. He has continued to work his way through and get in and score points. He has maintained his concentration despite the frustration.
Oh, that was almost football. It's a lucky thing they didn't get cut. Weaver just rushing across there pell-mell and put his head in it and butted him. Butted Ward, but it didn't seem to bother him. As Weaver seems to sense that he's got this round pretty well won. He's slowing down a little bit too, but if he continues the pressure that he's got, then he'll have a 2-point round. He has a 2-point round, then he wins his fight, and Ward will go back and wonder for the rest of his days why he let this get away from him after such a fast and marvelous start. He's got all the talent in the world. He just needs some fire built within him. He certainly is a nice-looking young fighter.
And there is the time remaining in the fight. Will Floyd Weaver pull this one out?
I believe he did. I believe he pulled it out.
Remember, there was a point taken away from Michael Ward in this round. And that is it. That one is over, and we are inching closer to the moment of truth. Evander Holyfield getting set, the #1 contender, 24-0 with 20 knockouts out of Atlanta, Georgia. And you get a look at Clint Eastwood taking in the action here at the Mirage this evening, part of this star-studded audience. Seated outside on this comfortable evening at the foot of Steve Wynn's masterpiece, the Mirage Hotel.
The outlaw Josie Wales is here watching this.
That's it.
Wonderful picture he did.
Michael Ward right now standing in the ring, and he's wondering if he won. Did he hand this one away?
That last point given away may have been the difference. And again, I charge you that it's really that was hard to judge. It was purely a judge's opinion, that they're just mad at this guy running around losing his fire and giving those rounds to Weaver. He has no problem. If they were admiring his defensive skill, Weaver may have won anyway with that last point taking the last round. That's just 2 points in a 6-round fight. That's enormous.
Here you get a look at the crowd packing their way in. This will be a capacity crowd. Some 16,000 fans on hand and millions watching across the world. And talking with Jack Nicholson with his back to us, Chevy Chase. He and Jack discussing tonight's events. There's Michael Ward from Fort Washington, Maryland, here with the decision. Our ring announcer, Robert Falk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a majority decision. Judge Art Laurie scores it 58-55 for Weaver. Judge Bill Graham scores it 57-57. And Judge Al Siciliano scores it 58-55. And the winner by majority decision, Pretty Boy Floyd Weaver.
So Floyd Weaver comes up with the victory. Michael Ward is stunned, but Ferdy, you're not.
No, I'm not. I had it 58-57. Weaver, that last round, certainly did it. I don't agree with 58-55 because those are the judges that, as we said, like the idea of the aggressive fighter over the retreating fighter. But you really can't argue with this. The entire fight was to be won by the superior fighter Ward. Superior in technique, superior in speed. There's the Kaz, the #1 guy in America right now for making money, as they say, and a very talented man. Great fight fan.
Second to you.
Second to Marv Albert.
Oh, all right. Jim Hill is standing by with a man who knows about boxing and some money as well. Sugar Ray Leonard. Jim?
Okay, Bob, thank you very much. Now, Ray, you and I were at the weigh-in yesterday, and everyone's mouth flew open. And some people, including yourself, said, well, you know, maybe he's a little bit too heavy, talking about Buster Douglas. Now that you've had a day to think about it, have you changed in your thinking as to who you think will win?
Well, not necessarily who I think will win the fight. But you know something, Jim? Yesterday's weigh-in was a big shock to everyone because 246 But what I also noticed is the fact that he was not grotesquely overweight. He wasn't blubbly or anything. You can get in shape and not make weight. I think that's the case there. Today, coming to the arena, Buster Douglas looked like a champion. Very, very confident, very poised, very relaxed. So who knows? I think we're in for a big surprise.
If you were Evander Holyfield, would you charge him?
No, you can't afford to. You have to perfect your defense first. I think he has to work his way in. Holyfield must be very cautious and patient, but he also must be aggressive. I mean, that's kind of contradictory, but he must be those things.
And he also must, try to make the fight go the distance?
The longer the fight goes, the more I favor Holyfield. I think what you're going to see from Buster Douglas is a much more flat-footed Buster Douglas and a much more deliberate Buster Douglas.
And a lot of people don't really realize just how hard Douglas can hit.
One thing about it, he has one of the best and most potent left jabs in the heavyweight division. You may see a lot of left jabs thrown by Buster Douglas, Jim.
This is one of the few heavyweight championship fights where it is really kind of hard to pick who the winner usually is going to be.
Not originally, because when it was first announced, you say Douglas all the way. But since that shocking news of the 246, I think there's much more intrigue here, much more mystique to this fight. You know, I think it's 50-50.
All right, Ray, thank you so much and enjoy the evening.
Always, Jim.
Okay, Sugar Ray Leonard. Okay, let's go back to ringside. Once again, here's Bob Papa. Bob?
All right, thank you very much, Jim Hill. Earlier this evening, Riddick Bowe came up with a second-round knockout over Bert Cooper. And standing along the fight doctor, Freddie Pacheco, I'm Bob Papa. There's the real deal, Evander Holyfield, 24-0 with 20 knockouts from the state of Georgia. The #1 ranked heavyweight contender, getting ready for his chance finally at the heavyweight championship fight after being held at bay by Mike Tyson. Now Buster Douglas giving him a shot. Now, earlier this evening, we got a look at a former Olympian, Andrew Maynard. He was in the ring against Keith Sir Jamalot McMurray. And Maynard was in this fight, and early on, he gave McMurray some trouble. But Maynard really stopped fighting, stopped being the aggressor, the fight doctor, and he let McMurray hit him at times, and some of Maynard's weaknesses were exposed. We're going to pick up the action. Andrew Maynard against Keith McMurray. Let's pick it up with round number 6 of this bout, scheduled for 8 rounds. Maynard against McMurray.
Come on, guys, let's work.
We start round number 6. Bob Papa along with the fight doctor, Freddie Pacheco. Andrew Maynard against Keith McMurray. Maynard in the blue, McMurray in the gold. We're at the Mirage outdoors for this 8-round light heavyweight fight. Glad you can join us. Receiving the moment of truth. Evander Holyfield against Buster Douglas for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. In round number 1, Keith McMurray hit the canvas, was knocked down late in the round, got back up. Maynard has controlled the fight, but McMurray has shown some signs as of late, Freddie.
Maynard has control, but not impressed. McMurray has survived and is waiting for the last moment charge.
Weighing in at 152 pounds with a record of 6.
Well, there's an overhand right that hurt McMurray. McMurray trying to hold on inside.
And I think you can even hear it all over our microphones. His corner screaming the hook, the hook. That's just what they've been telling him. When you land one of those big right hands, come back with a hook. He hasn't done it yet like that. Come back with a hook. He didn't do it.
They've asked him to double up his punches as well, and it's really one shot in.
I think that one first shot that decked McMurray has got him right hand crazy. Spoiled. It's not a balanced attack.
Punch it, get out of here. Close your mouth.
Maynard continues to press forward. Stepped in with a counter right there.
Oh, you see that right hand? It is so discouraging to see a guy that's this far along in a pro career throw an amateur punch like that round after round after round and not listen to his corner. His corner's telling him the right thing. Don't do that. Don't reach.
Well, Sir Jamalot,
he's connecting.
Left hand there. Everyone's favorite light heavyweight opponent. He's hanging in. Maynard can't put him away.
No, he's doggedly hanging up. To this point, it's been just a survival fight. But in the last couple of rounds, he's at least tried hard, has McMurray, to land a meaningful punch, knowing that Maynard has a weak enough chin that he can get him in trouble here with one good shot.
Come on, work inside or get up.
approach the action. Can you ever look good against a guy like McMurray with his awkward style as he eats another left hook?
I tell you, I used to avoid guys like this, like the Blake when I was running fighter, because you really can't. What can you do against this guy? Except go out and knock him out, and if you don't, you got this kind of fight.
Well, will he make it to the end of round number 6? Maynard pouring in. But McMurray makes the bell after another battering, and Maynard heads back to his corner.
On him. I don't want to hear no excuses, Andrew.
I'm making them.
Don't give me no excuses, John. I want him then. Don't give me no excuses. All right? Come on here.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to hear no excuses.
The man who's talking is Jose Pepe Correa.
Punch short and keep your punches moving short. You have nothing to worry about. No excuses. Come on here.
All right.
Doc Daggett, let's go to work now. Okay? He's ready to fold up on you. Ready to
This guy is ready to go.
He's ready to go, son.
You press him.
Only you can do it. Put 4 or 5 punches together.
Okay.
Come on. Come on. Come on there.
We can do it for you. You got to do it yourself.
Put him in that back.
Come on.
Get that air. If you ain't gonna punch him, tie him up. Well, that's what he's doing to you. Don't let him punch on you, tie him up.
Let's take a look at some of the action.
The corners were representative of what's happening inside the ring. In one corner is frenetic activity. In the other corner, they look like they're discussing the Iraq crisis. They're just sitting calmly, telling him, keep on going. Nobody gave him any advice.
Come on, let's go.
The only thing I heard was try to tie him up a little more. We start round number 7 of this scheduled 8-round light heavyweight bout. Andrew Maynard against Keith McMurray. McMurray down once. Maynard can't finish him off.
Don't hold it great.
This is the kind of work where when you're looking at the guy in the press, you say, we needed this kind of fight to shake him out and get him back into action. It's a great fight for us, but actually it's not a great fight for your fighter. And it could result in discouragement, because if you can't do anything with this kind of guy, you could get a little discouraged.
Pull your arms back, Chief.
How much frustration builds with a fighter? You see McMurray throw a few punches and get through that defense, and you can't finish a guy off.
A great deal develops over the period of 8 rounds, because you know you're better than he is. You know you've got to get him out of here. You know you've had him down in the first round. You know he's got a weak chin, he can go, and you can't do it. Although I must say, in Maynard's defense, the defense of all fighters that catch themselves in this kind of thing, it's happened to every good fighter I know. I mean, everyone, including Ali, has had those nights where they just can't do anything with the guy.
Come on, your hands are free. Punch.
Here, Richard Steele trying to encourage McMurray to throw some punches. Not a bad idea, because when he does, he scores.
Pull your arms back. Pull them back.
It's almost like coaching.
Come on, let's work. Let's work.
Maynard should say to him, will you keep quiet? I got this guy where I want him. Don't keep telling him to keep fighting.
Come on, work inside.
At what point he told him to close his mouth.
Pull your arms back.
The guy should have said, well, how do I breathe? I mean, through my nose, it's not working right now.
Oh, what a left hand by Maynard.
But you see, what did he come back with? A huge overhand right to the head, which he could not possibly land with the way the guy was bent over. He should have stepped in and gone right to the body with that.
Worker, get out of there. Worker, get out.
Left hook has been the most effective punch for Maynard.
Hold it. Great.
This is round 7, the scheduled 8-round bout. Wild miss by Maynard again.
Don't hold him. Punch to get out of there.
Well, remember, there was a referee trying hard to make this a match. It's Steele, but he's not. I mean, he's almost to the point where he's coaching, and it's still not an exciting bout.